So Bob, you might start off as our Bruce Banner. We understand even though Scott got to a point where he went a little crazy, we understand that you're going to go a lot crazy on us. Now, Bob is the chief evangelist of Active Rain. I'm hoping all of you know Bob. If you know Active Rain, you know Bob. Because I said to you, Active Rain started May 2006. Can anybody out there type in for me when you believe Bob started with Active Rain? It started May 2006. When do you think Bob started with Active Rain? Yeah, I'm getting some good ones, Bob. Some people asking 2005 maybe. Maybe they're saying April 2006. No, with Active Rain starting in May 2006, Bob was there. He was one of the originals, and he's the standing original. He's the Cal Ripken Jr. of Active Rain. He is the man we go to when it comes to what we need to know from Active Rain. Bob, that's you, and today you've got a rant that I've heard. Google Plus, I hate you, I love you, I can't live without you. So let me give you the screen here and let you take it away, Bob.
All right, Chad, thank you, my friend. I appreciate the introduction. And yes, I definitely look better with my wife beside me. There's no question about that. I'm sure like a lot of you fellas out there, I married completely out of my league. So any chance I get to show her off, I'm going to take that opportunity. I'm going to start out today maybe being the Incredible Hulk and then regressing back to Bruce Banner and a little bit more mild-mannered person, because as I started, we put this, what my presentation would be about, to a vote of our Active Rain members, and we put it between Facebook fan pages and some of the cool ways we could use Facebook fan pages or Google+. And I have to tell you, as the votes started to roll in, I was a little bit concerned because my initial reaction to Google Plus when it first came out, and it's only been about 8 or 9 months now, was I hate you. And as I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with it, there's some things that I actually don't hate about Google Plus, and I think as you get in and get involved with it, there's some things that you might actually like. The problem with Google Plus is, at the end of the day, when you kind of look at the entire scope of what Google Plus is, and you realize that it's almost becoming something that you can't live without. So I hate you, I love you, I can't live without you. If you've been married for any length of time, you probably have those same sorts of feelings with your wife, right? Not that I ever hate my wife, but gosh, somebody can get under my skin like no one else, it's my wife. But man, I love her. And at the end of the day, I can't live without her. And Google Plus is something real similar for me and for you guys as real estate agents who are attempting to utilize Google. We all know Google's this 800-pound gorilla. Well, how does Google Plus play into that? And how do some of the social features that Google's trying to bring out play into that? We're going to find out. Maybe we can't live without Google Plus. So let's talk about the Google obsession with Facebook. And when Larry Page took over as CEO not too long ago from their other co-founder there at Google, one of the things that Page realized was, if anybody's in a position to bring down Google as kind of this, this overlord of the web, it's potentially Facebook. And if we were to look at their ad revenue from last year, I mean, Google's ad revenue is 10 times what Facebook's ad revenue is. But Facebook's social size is a heck of a lot bigger, and Google Plus hasn't been around for that long, but they've already gotten up to 100 million people, and I think at that point they were the largest growing social network, even though Pinterest has kind of come along and taken that title from them. But look at the traffic rank, and he shared a few of these slides earlier, Chris did, that had some interesting things about how long people stay on certain sites. And Facebook has now become the #1 ranked site for traffic in the United States. And Google's #2, but what Facebook also has over Google is people stay on it for a long time. Chris showed us those stats earlier, right? People are spending an inordinate amount of time on Facebook compared to Google. So what do we get from Facebook and Google? On Google, we kind of get a history of the web, and it's based on us going out and wanting something specific. On Facebook, we get what's important to us based on, Ben talked about it earlier, that edge rank, right? They're showing us things in our feed or our news feed that are important to us, and we might not necessarily have gone searching for those things, but our friends have shared them, right? Our acquaintances, the people that we're connected to on Facebook have shared these things. So Facebook's utilizing their edge rank to try to determine what do they think is important for us, and they're getting a heck of a lot better at doing this. So what does Facebook get from our involvement there, and what does Google get from our involvement there? Well, Facebook's building this ridiculously broad profile of who you are and what you're interested in. Okay? Google, up until the introduction of Google Plus, was really only getting our search behavior and learning from us based on the things that we're actively seeking out and searching. So Paige realized in taking over the CEO reins at Google that if this trend continues, Google might be in a little bit of trouble, right? That there's this other kid on the block that has the potential to overtake the giant. So let's talk about why I hate you. Google Plus, why I hate you. And I think that the first reason, and this was the reason right out of the gates, Google Plus came out and I was there, but I wasn't really doing anything. And not that I've even been doing a ton to this point, but it was just another thing that I need to figure out how to use. So why would I, if I've already got Facebook, I'm already figuring out Twitter, I've got my blog, why would I want to introduce this other thing into my day that I need to figure out? To me, it just didn't make sense. When I went to Google Plus real early, it was a lot of, this is real similar to Facebook. Now, there's definitely some differences, but I couldn't really grasp my head around why would I want to spend the time to figure this thing out if I can get some of the offering from it in another place? Well, Google probably had the same mindset when they set out to introduce Google Plus. So another reason I hate you is because you force my hand. Today, any new Google accounts force you to have Google Plus. And a lot of you guys that already have a Gmail or a YouTube, right? Recently, they've pulled together all of their 500 different privacy policies, and they put them all under one. And everything that they're doing is trying to get us involved in Google Plus. And at the end, when we see that I can't live without you, we're going to figure out that they're forcing our hand in almost an extraordinary way, a way that a lot of search engine optimization experts have said it's Google jumping the shark. They realize that this idea of social search is playing such a large role that they have to force our hand to Google Plus so that they can get the best data about us to be able to serve up the best results that are important to us. I hate you, Google Plus. You force my hand, and you force it in a lot of ways. And when you're not logged into Google, because everything that we do on the web, when we're logged into some kind of a Google account, and that might be our browser got logged into YouTube, or we logged into our Gmail, or we logged in directly to our Google Plus, or Picasa, or any of the different kind of suite of offerings that Google has, once we log in, they know what we're doing. Okay? This is actually a search page from me going out on the web and browsing while not logged in to Google Plus. And what we start to see is Google is returning results from the Google Plus network on the Google search pages when you're not logged in. And for music, that's not real applicable to us as a real estate agent, okay? But there are some things that they're doing that are a little bit more applicable to us. And if you were just to go Google real estate, and I always think to myself, does anybody actually ever Google real estate or just the word homes for sale? And shockingly, yes, they do. A lot of folks will do search that doesn't involve some geographical component. So when you start to look at this, think about the value of these pay-per-click ads that we see on the screen here. How much do you think the MLSonline.com is paying to be in that position? And then when you think about that, and you think about where Google makes their money, how much value do you believe that Google is placing on Google Plus when they would take space on a search, and that space on the search is their moneymaker. They would take that space and they would replace it with results from Google Plus. Those two positions, and it might actually be three, I think it's two, those two positions over there on the right-hand side where Google is pushing paid advertising down to display you people and pages on Google Plus is a big deal. They're putting a lot of emphasis on this Google Plus movement. Anytime that Google takes something that makes them a lot of money and puts something else in it, you should be paying attention. We should be paying attention. Okay? And when Google makes changes, and they're always making changes, when they make changes, a lot of times what they will do is they will rate those changes on some of their very broad, wide sort of search queries. Music, for instance, real estate, big names like Britney Spears. And then what they'll do is after looking at how those changes impact, the user experience, how many dollars it adds to Google's bottom line, they will begin to roll changes of this nature out across a wider variety of search. When they first started introducing videos into search, I never saw a lot of video in like long tail search phrases. If I typed in Britney Spears, yeah, I'd get some YouTube video results. Over time, Google has begun to integrate these sorts of video search into more broader search. And now when we search in our SEO class that we do at Active Rain University, I always show some real long tail kind of searches that are particular to like neighborhoods and communities. Video never showed there for a long time. It showed on the big broad searches. It's now starting to filter its way down to these more long tail searches. So something like this where they're showing people and pages on Google Plus, when somebody searches at a very high level for real estate, we can envision them in the future showing those sorts of things when people are searching for more specific things like Seattle real estate. All right, let's talk. So there's a couple of reasons why I hate you. The big kind of why I'm torn, I love you, I hate you, will come at the very end, and you make it so easy. And I'm a Gmail user, and so our ActiveRain.com is set up through Gmail, and my day kind of takes place on Gmail. As I was getting started kind of figuring out Google Plus and adding you as friends, and a bunch of you folks on the call I've probably added as a friend in the last couple of weeks as I was preparing for this presentation, you make it so easy. And one of the things that's been really frustrating for me about Facebook, and Ben mentioned lists, is I have 2,500 friends on Facebook or whatever. The day that I sat down to decide I was going to make lists of Facebook so I could have some semblance of order and try to keep up with certain people that I cared more about than others and my family, and it took me a long time. Google Plus makes it really easy. Right out of the gates, they've got this concept of circles, and circles will dictate who I decide to share certain pieces of information that I may post on Google Plus with. And they make it real easy. It's drag and drop, and it's easy to see who's not in a circle, and I can place them there, and I can get it all very organized, very easily. They also make it really easy out of my emails. When I get an email letting me know that somebody's added me on Google+, it gives me a couple of other folks down at the bottom that I might also know. And within the email, I can actually go in and add them. One of the things that Facebook does such a good job with is driving you back to Facebook. It irritates me to no end that when somebody adds me as a friend on Facebook, I can't just confirm it in my email. Same thing on Twitter. When somebody adds me as they start following me on Twitter, I actually am driven back to the website to have to approve them or to have to follow them back. And it's just another 2 minutes out of my day or 45 seconds out of my day and an extra clicks. And Facebook or Google makes it so easy. I can add the people to my Google Plus circles right out of that email. So you make it easy. You also let me market my business. And when we went back to that first slide where I showed you the real estate search and those different companies showing up there, Realtor.com and Zillow, I think, were the companies that were showing up. Well, Google Plus lets me market my business. And when they first came out, they had these real strict rules on you can only be a person, and it's got to be a picture of your face, and it's got to be your name, and if you have, it's got to be all this kind of, you got to be real, you got to be a person. Well, they've added this ability for us to create business pages on Google Plus. And they make it real easy. You get in there, right? You pick your brand, you go through, you set it up, maybe you add a little bit of content. And I love you because those results will show in Google. Now, Google doesn't look like, and I did a lot of research to try to find some, they're more likely to show Google Plus results in the search engines when I'm logged in. And in this particular example, I am logged in to my browser using Google. So I'm either logged in from my YouTube account or my email, or somehow Google's got me logged in on my browser. And they're going to show me results out of Google+. They will also show me those results when I'm not logged in. Now, it's not quite as common because when I'm logged in, they know a heck of a lot more about me. But look at this particular search. This is Wellington Equestrian Properties, and Katarina Gassett is a member on Active Rain. She created a Google+ business page that was about Wellington Equestrian Properties. And what we see is she's showing up in the 5th position there when I come in. And the reason she's doing that is because I've connected to Katarina out there somehow. And so we're getting a little bit closer to understanding why having something on Google Plus or some kind of a profile is almost an I can't live without you scenario. We'll really exacerbate that at the end here. So Katarina, she created this page. I think I went back there and there was about 20 to 25 different articles that she had posted on that page. But there's a lot of folks for a long time that have been writing content about Wellington Equestrian Properties, have been creating their websites around Wellington Equestrian Properties, and in her community of Wellington, Florida, the equestrian community is very, very vibrant. In fact, Bill Gates rented a house down there recently so that his daughter could be in Wellington for a horse show, and they were there for a couple of weeks, and he paid a ridiculous amount of money to rent a house in Wellington. All those people that spent all that time, Katarina was able to go out there, create a Google Plus page for her business. She's added some pretty decent content. A lot of it's powered out of her blog. She's added that content to that page over time to where now Google's starting to show that Google Plus result to logged in searchers. Now I mentioned that they'll show these results when you're logged in, but they'll also show them when you're not logged in. And I'm actually not logged in to Google for this particular search. This isn't Christopher's Google Plus page. This is Christopher's authorship of his own blog. Right around the time that they started Google Plus, and it was a little bit before that, Google introduced this concept of Google authorship. And what Google authorship does is it allows us to go to Google and to claim my content online. And, we've all been using Google for a long time. They don't make changes very often to the way that they've displayed results. In fact, for quite a while now, it's been this similar kind of title, URL, page description. Well, now they give us a chance to actually add our smiling faces next to our content. You can claim your content by going to plus.google.com/authorship, and there's 2 different ways in there that you can go about claiming content that you've written. And Google gives you a little disclaimer, yeah, we may choose to show it, we may choose not to show it. We're Google, we do what the heck we want. But in this case, for Christopher, he's showing up as the author of any kind of content that he's posting to his blog, right? Gives me a little picture there. The result looks a little bit different, and when people get used to coming to Google, they get used to seeing the same thing. These changes are driving higher click-through ratios for works that are associated with somebody being the author of it. So I like that about Google. I like that they're allowing me now to kind of put an image, and Chris did a wonderful job of sharing with us how much people are relying on images. The fact that Google is allowing us to get our image into the search results, that's a big deal. You want to get out there and claim your work on Google authorship. So here's kind of the finishing point here. And I know I haven't gone too much into, how do I use Google Plus, because I'll be quite honest. For me, it was more a matter of should I be using this or shouldn't I be using this? Because, again, we've got all these things that we're supposed to be using. We're supposed to be using Facebook. We're supposed to be using Twitter. We're supposed to be using Pinterest. So with another one, Google Plus, should I even be using it? And so we saw some reasons why I hate you, right? You're forcing my hand. We saw some reasons why I love you. Here's the one reason I think why I can't live without you, and this really relates to Google in general, to Google Plus One, which has been around quite a bit longer than Google Plus, and to Google Plus, and it's this idea of social search, or Google calls it search plus your world. So I'm probably missing a plus up here, so it should be Google plus Google Plus. Say that a couple times. Google plus Google Plus, plus their plus one button, right? All that stuff kind of rolled up into one is giving us Google's attempt at social search, or they call it search plus your world. So let's go back to the beginning here. Google gives us the things that we're looking for right now, and it's a history of the web, and it's based on this algorithm, the almighty Google algorithm that, people pay a lot of money for other people to crack for them, and at Active Rain, we try to teach you ways to write content to get your stuff ranking, and there's 50 million search engine optimization experts out there, and every time Google makes a small change, people pore over it and try to figure out what's going on and how it impacts search behavior and search results. They're making a major push towards this idea of social search because on Facebook, Google's realized, look, Facebook's serving up to people the stuff they want even though they don't know they want it, right? Because it's looking at our behavior, it's looking at who we've interacted with, it's looking at who we like, and it's saying, if those people like those things, I'm probably going to like them too. This concept of social search is really big. So, I love you, I hate you, or I hate you, I love you, I can't live without you, and I can't live without you because you are beginning to distort their results. And by there, I mean anybody out there who's logged in to a Google account on their browser in some form or fashion, you, Google, you dirty little rat, are beginning to distort their results. And for me, as somebody who knows that ranking in the search engines is an important part of my business, this is a big deal. I got a lot of friends that are real estate agents. My mother-in-law is one of them, who have spent an inordinate amount of time creating great content and making sure they have websites that are designed and perform to rank well in the search engines. But Google's gone out and literally in a short period of time, they've changed the landscape of how they are beginning to return results to us. Here's a search for Ann Arbor homes for sale. And my mother-in-law is a real estate agent here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I live in Ann Arbor now with my wife. My wife's a real estate agent on my mother-in-law's team. And Missy does a pretty good job of ranking in the search engines. When you type in Ann Arbor real estate, she comes up on the first page. She comes up on the first page for a wide variety of Ann Arbor sort of searches. Her website's not optimized around Ann Arbor homes for sale, and in fact, she does not show up on the first page of Google for Ann Arbor homes for sale. Now that second paid ad, a2homefinder.com, that's her. She runs some pay-per-click advertising, okay? She gets good results for a lot of long-tail search phrases, but Ann Arbor homes for sale would be a pretty good search query for her to come up for. Well, as we see the first 4 results here, and you guys have hopefully been around search engine optimization long enough to realize that that first organic position is going to get a lot more of the traffic than the second one's going to get, which is going to get more of the traffic than the third one's going to get. And there's all kinds of charts and graphs out on the internet that show us how these break down, right? It makes sense. The higher we are, the better chance we have of somebody clicking through. So she's not showing up with her website in those first 4 results. In fact, it's TruliaHomes.com, Reinhardt, which is a local real estate firm, or a regional real estate firm here in the Michigan area. And then we've got realestate.yahoo.com. And for a lot of us across our different markets, these are pretty common big players, the big box guys, the Trulias, the Homes.coms, the Yahoos. Look what happens. Now, this is me not logged in. Look what happens once I log in. I do the same search for Ann Arbor homes for sale, and Missy now shows up in the 3rd position. I'm logged in at this point, okay? Now, why is she showing up? Because I'm connected to her on Google+. Because I email with her out of my Gmail. There's a lot of ways that Google's looking out there and trying to identify socially who am I connected with, and then based on who I'm connected with socially, is there something that any of those people have said on the internet that would give me a better result in searching Ann Arbor homes for sale? And in this case, they return her website in that 3rd position. This is a huge deal. This is huge. If you haven't gone on Google Plus yet, if you've said, I'm not sure about Google Plus, you need to start to think about it. And the reason is because Google is starting to look at these social signals, and they're starting to manipulate our sphere's search engine results based on who that sphere is connected to. So Missy does a good job. She's one of these early adopters in the real estate space. She's got her team set up to where doesn't have to be out showing buyers and sellers every day. She works the listings. She's also one of these people that is up in her bed till, she's in bed from 9 to midnight working on the social media stuff and doing the blogging and sending out tweets and Facebook and she's in Google Plus, and she's doing all these things. So as an early adopter of Google Plus, she's up to I think she's got about 3,500 people in her circles, including who? All of her past clients, including a lot of folks from in and around Ann Arbor, right? She's trying to make her circles on Google Plus as wide as possible because she realizes that when any of those people out there are logged into their browser for Google, whether it be Gmail or YouTube or any of the other suites of Google products, Google is showing them different results. So she's making sure that anybody that might want to find her but wouldn't necessarily think, I'm going to go to searchannarborhouses.com, because people don't do that. They don't know the names of your websites, right? They know that you might be the real estate agent they use, or maybe they don't know, right? Ben gave us a bunch of ways to make sure they continue to know that we're the real estate agent when they think about it. But they're just going to Google. They're typing in Ann Arbor homes for sale, right? We want to make sure that they're finding us, and Missy's doing a very good job of this because she's taking her website, she's taking the content that she's created, and she's sharing it on Google Plus to make sure that anybody connected to her, when they go out and start searching for things in and around Ann Arbor, and Google begins to bend their results based on social cues instead of based on the traditional SEO model of how many links do I have, keyword phrases, semantic evidence on the page, all these different things. Google is giving huge precedence to social. That is why I can't live without you. If you guys are living right now without Google Plus, you need to stop. And the further along we get down the road, the more Google is going to begin to integrate this stuff. This is all pretty new. They haven't been doing this for very long. So you got a chance to get in there, get Google Plus set up, start sharing content about your business that's relevant to keyword phrases that people that you can get connected to may ultimately search for. And if you begin to do it the right ways, we can actually get our content to show up on the search engines when it may not have otherwise. Hope that made sense for everybody. Chad, are you there, my friend?
Absolutely, Bob. I think you just Bob smash Google Plus. Yes, kind of brought the Hulk out there all over Google Plus for us. You've done a fantastic job of answering that. Now, Bob, I got a question for you that came from Joseph in the middle of your, near the end of your piece there. Joseph said, based on what you were saying, how in the world can any normal person, and of course we understand you're not normal, how could any normal person, though, possibly begin to navigate the hundreds of social media sites that are out there and still maintain some sort of sanity? What would you say to somebody like that? Because at IMSD, the way we teach it is it's all about mastering one and then adding the other. Don't go out there now and go get your Google Plus, your Pinterest, your Facebook, your Twitter, and all those things if you didn't have before. It's master one, add another, and time block the amount of time that you're going to do. Like Ben said, 15 minutes 3 times a day is more than enough time to be on Facebook, and you can still do your other business. Is there anything else you would suggest when it comes to somebody attempting to keep their sanity with all the social sites that are out there and how they do it?
You know, I mean, the first thing I would say is figure out a couple that you believe you need to be a part of. And, you know, maybe it's 4 of them. And you just say, you know what, it's going to be Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and Google Plus. And I'm not going to worry about all of the other noise out there until one of those other ones is doing what Pinterest is doing, you know, or is creating the kind of engagement and eyeballs that Pinterest is doing. But so first I would say just figure out which ones you want to focus on. And then master one at a time. I mean, I can't put it any more succinctly than you just did right there. Although Chris Smith did have something really good earlier, which was, look, if you're going to use these things, try to figure out mechanisms that you can use that make them easier for you. So whether that be like TweetDeck, like I'll use TweetDeck and I'll send stuff to my Facebook or to my Twitter stream. That Google makes it pretty easy. I've got a +1 button. I've got the Google Plus Share app on my browser. So your browser extensions are a good way to kind of make it systematic for you to be able to get these things off to the sites without having to copy the URL and then go over and log in and post it. And so, you know, systems for how you can push content to these arenas. Before I started really diving into this stuff, Chad, I would have said start with Facebook, master that. I'm almost at a position where I would say if you're looking right now to say, okay, where should I start? Google Plus might be the place, because we all know that, you know, Google's sending 60% of the traffic out to the greater internet, and that's being eroded in some ways by sites like Pinterest or Facebook, obviously. But there's still a major player in sending traffic around the web, because when somebody is thinking, I want to search, I'm searching for something, they're going to Google. They're never going to Facebook to search, right? Because you can't even search Facebook. I mean, Timeline makes it a little bit easier, but it's still really hard to search it. Google's kind of rolling this idea all up into one where they're saying, look, we're going to look at all your social interactions. We know when you search that we're going to give you some results that we've always given you based on fundamental SEO, but we're also going to put some results in there that are based on these social applications. And if you're ignoring Google Plus as, I mean, you really stand the risk of being, I mean, just being swept out of the search engine rankings. They would never come out and say that, but the fact that they're doing what they're doing is a huge indicator that we have to be on Google+. That's a big roundabout answer for a pretty simple question. But
there you go. Thanks for bringing it around to us. You know, there's a question a few people have been asking that says, there's so much of it, who can do it for us? Let me get on my soapbox and say, nobody. I'm going to say that one more time, and I'm going to add an extra syllable to that word, nobody, right? I don't know how I could add a fourth. You need to do this yourself. If you've got someone else posting for you on Facebook, if you've got someone else tweeting for you, if you've got somebody else pinning for you, it's not you. It's got to come from you. It's got to be your passion. That's what Scott was telling us at the beginning of the call. It's got to be you and done right. If you're looking for someone to help you set things up, there are a lot of companies out there that will charge you a lot of money to set up a website, that'll set up your Facebook page. There are plenty of companies you can go look into. If you think there's a company out there that's going to do this for you, shame on you. That would be like saying, I've got a Rainmaker account, someone else go blog for me all day long. It's you. It needs to be your passion, your information, and your voice. Because if I were to be your Facebook voice and you went on the listing presentation, they'd say, you're not the same person I've been engaging with online. Authenticity. You've got to be who you are. Transparency has never become more key than what we've got going now with the power of social media. If you didn't get the code earlier, Active Rain, you want to know this one, arpromo.com/bootcamp. arpromo.com/bootcamp to check out what it's all about to be a rainmaker and get in on the new boot camp classes that are coming that'll really show you how to do it. I want to bring this to a close. I get to be the Samuel L. Jackson guy. I get to be Nick Fury, who runs S.H.I.E.L.D. here, because I was the one that got to keep all of you together. We had Scott. We had Chris. We had Ben. And, of course, we had Bob, because no Active RainCamp would be the same without Bob. We shared with you today an overview talking about how you need to be authentic. Ben talked to you how to lead generate. Chris broke down for you Pinterest, and Bob just ripped apart Google+. There isn't anyone else out there that can bring you the information like the social media heroes that we had for you today. Do me the favor of getting on Twitter, thanking all of them. You'll see plenty of them use the RainCamp hashtag. And if you still have questions, go to facebook.com/ActiveRain. Post them on the wall for Active Rain. People will be looking there, answering your questions for the next few hours if we didn't get a chance to answer yours today. My name is Chad Himes. It has been my pleasure to lead you through RainCamp, and we can't wait to see you again online. Have a fantastic rest of your day.